pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Rockwood Board of Education meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the district, hear reports about our progress, and listen to the community on important issues. We want to remind all of our visitors that we expect the audience to remain civil and respectful at all times as the board conducts its business. We appreciate your cooperation and that you took the time to be here tonight. Thank you so much. The first order of business is a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Next is a motion is to approve the Board of Education meeting minutes for October 2nd, 2025.
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none again. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Next is patron comments, and I don't believe we have any tonight. And I'm not going to forget tonight. Superintendent and board comments. Superintendent.
Thank you, President Bedyet. Each year, the Rockwood School District recognizes the outstanding support staff members who serve our students and staff each and every day. And this is through the Cornerstone Awards program. These employees represent a vital part of our district, and we want them to know how much their contributions truly mean. The Cornerstone Awards is our community's opportunity to recognize these individuals. Visit the Communications Department page on our district website, rsdmo.org, to submit a nomination for a support staff member who has made a positive impact on your family's life from now through, that'll be actually next Friday, which is October 24th. October is Disability History and Awareness Month nationally. It's a time during which we encourage our schools to provide instruction on disability history, people with disabilities, and the disability rights movement. On October 3rd, Lafayette High School social studies teacher Jody Lee visited Pond Elementary to read to students Different at School. That's a children's book, and that was read to 40 students in the school's Best Buddies Club. It inspires students to celebrate what makes them unique. After the reading, students separated into groups to decorate paper panels of a kindness quilt, which special education teacher Nicole Tucker compiled on a bulletin board at the school. This is just one of many ways Rockwood schools are celebrating Disability History and Awareness Month throughout October. You can see what you want to check out literally on the screen there. Very impressive. The Lafayette Wind Ensemble has been chosen to perform at the 2026 Missouri Music Educators Association in-service workshop and conference in January. The Lafayette Ensemble is among only 33 from around the state scheduled to perform at the MMEA conference, and one of only 7 high school bands. This is the first time a Lafayette band has performed at the MMEA conference, and over the past 4 years, every Rockwood High School Wind Ensemble has earned an opportunity to perform on this statewide stage. 2 other Rockwood music educators, Lafayette guitar teacher Tracy Bolton and Rockwood Summit High School band instructor Danny Pace, will also be serving as session presenters at the conference. Congratulations to these outstanding staff members and student musicians, and thank you for serving as positive representation of Rockwood at the state level. Round of applause. So last for this evening, the School Safety Officer Program in the Rockwood School District has been an absolutely huge success over the past 3 years. Our 4 SSOs, Joe Early, Kelly Murray, Mark Tinkham, and David Weiss, have extensive law enforcement backgrounds and are a friendly, calming presence as they team up to patrol the 19 elementary schools in our school district. In this video, our school safety officers share how seriously they take their job duties and how appreciative they are of our Rockwood community support. Prop S is a proposal on the November 4th ballot to recruit and to retain quality teachers and staff by providing salaries that are competitive with other local school districts and expanding healthcare benefits to more employees, as well as adding 2 additional school safety officers. For more information about Prop S, please visit rsdmo.org/Prop S. Let's take a look at this video. When I said take a look, I also meant that we could listen to it, but looks like we're going to take a look for now. For those that are not in the room right now, both Dave Weiss and Joe Early are here. And so thank you for what you continue to do for the Rockwood School District, as well as your colleagues on a daily basis. Thank you very much. That's all I have, President Midyet.
Thank you. Board comments. Okay. This is a quiet group tonight. 7.01, approval of consent agenda items 7.02 through 7.31. And the motion is to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
And since Tammy is not here tonight, I will share that the Lafayette Church of Christ has donated $1,030 to the Baldwin Elementary School. For donation, the donation is to provide a book for our students at the Fall Book Fair. So thank you to Lafayette Church of Christ for being a great school partner. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Hearing none, the ayes have it and the motion passes. 8.01 is proclamation for the Red Ribbon Week. And I believe we're going to have Michelle Ortwig and Director Milligan will, after I read the motion, Director Milligan will read the proclamation. And the motion is to approve the proclamation designating October 27th through 31, 2025 as Red Ribbon Week in the Rockwood School District.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, want to read the motion, please? Read the proclamation, please.
Whereas the Rockwood School District values the health and safety of all our students and citizens, and whereas substance abuse is particularly damaging to one of our most valuable resources, our children, and a contributing factor in the 3 leading causes of death for teenagers: accidents, homicides, and suicides. And whereas it is the goal of Red Ribbon Week and the Rockwood School District to involve families, schools, businesses, churches, law enforcement agencies, and service organizations in all aspects of this campaign, and establish an atmosphere that supports awareness, education, and ongoing initiatives to prevent illegal drug use. And whereas the Red Ribbon Week campaign theme promotes family and individual responsibilities for living healthy, drug-free lifestyles without illegal drugs or the illegal use of legal drugs. And whereas National Red Ribbon Week will be celebrated October 23rd through 31st across the country. Now therefore be it resolved that the Rockwood School District does hereby proclaim October 27th through 31st, 2025 as Red Ribbon Week within the district, as well as district support in demonstrating unity around healthy, drug-free lifestyles.
Thank you, Phil. Michelle, want to tell us more? There's a button. There.
Perfect. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you.
I want to take the opportunity to thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. I want to thank the board, the cabinet, and the district for their continued support. Not only are we bringing drug and alcohol awareness to school by declaring Red Ribbon Week, we are recognizing that teen drug use is an epidemic that can't be ignored. Having programs and staff dedicated to substance use education, substance use support, substance use counseling, to students who suffer with substance use issues is really remarkable and frankly not common enough. I'm really proud of what the program looks like. I'm really proud of the community partnerships that we've established, and I couldn't do it without any of your help and the district's help. So I want to thank you for that. For Red Ribbon Week, we were once again able to offer funds to schools to help support their Red Ribbon Week campaigns. Across the district, there will be spirit days, contests, decorations, games, and giveaways. To highlight a couple of schools, Rockwood South is having an annual poster contest. Kerrs Mill is having Red Ribbon Bingo. Crestview Middle is having a door decorating contest, and the grade level winner will actually get a donut party. I was not invited. LaSalle is having a retired neurosurgeon guest speaker on October 27th. Dr. Young will present on how the human brain works and understanding addictive behavior. Also in the month of October, Wildwood Middle School hosted Addiction is Real. They hosted the Hidden in Plain View bedroom exhibit, which always goes over very well. They were able to host that during parent-teacher conferences last week and tonight. So that's what we have going on in the district, and I think it's been a great month, and I look forward to Red Ribbon Week. And I said it very well tonight, so thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments?
Questions, further discussion?
Just a general question.
Sure.
Do we have any idea of the severity of our challenge in Rockwood as a district with drugs or other issues related to Red Ribbon Week?
Do we have any challenges
Well, I mean,
as far as,
you're-
like, go ahead, sorry.
Well, so when a million years ago, when I grew up, addiction in high school was very common.
Mhm.
So,
Still very common,
Okay.
yes. And the products that we're seeing today, they're a lot more potent than what we're used to seeing maybe 20, 30 years ago. So I think addiction has been an ongoing epidemic for a long time. It's evolved and it's developed into other things. A few years ago, it looked different. But the opioid epidemic has been ongoing for decades. So I do think it changes, the landscape changes quite a bit, but it's still an ongoing epidemic that I don't see changing with the legality.
Thank you.
Do we see a trend toward younger and younger ages, or does it seem to be pretty much confined to like upper middle school, high school kind of?
Yes, I do see quite a few younger students, and we do know obviously the age of onset does affect addiction. It's one of the most influential reasons for addiction. So I am seeing quite young kids, and we do know that that's really where we need to get in there and get help and offer them support. Because if they carry that into adulthood, it's a lot harder to change. So I think prevention, education, and starting early is the only way to try to stop it.
I think that's why it's so important that hiding in plain sight, is that what it's called?
Hidden in plain view, yes.
Yes, is an amazing thing. And so I would urge people to take advantage of that whenever and however they can.
Yes. So we have three events this year. I'm hoping more schools take advantage of it. But right now we have 3 scheduled. So
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, say no. Hearing none, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. Thank you, Michelle.
thank you.
Nice job. Next is CSIP Goal Title I Plan Presentation with Dr. Carrie Skeeters. There she is. She just appeared. And we'll start with the motion, which is to approve the submission of the FY26 Consolidated Federal Programs application for funding in the amount of $1,294,686 and approve the appointment of the federal programs compliance coordinators.
Second.
Good evening.
Good evening. Discussion.
Okay, so, I have the clicker here. Great. So I'm here this evening. First, you are approving for us the full federal programs budget. We received allocations for all the title programs that we are eligible to participate in, Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV. And in addition to that, we also participate in Perkins, which is a federal grant as well. So we are grateful that those funds exist to support us. This evening, I'm going to be speaking specifically about Title I, but just some background on those other title programs, just for information. For Title I, that is the purpose of that is to improve basic programming. So where there is a need for students, those funds provide supplemental instruction and support. Title II is very much focused on supporting teachers so teachers can support students. In the Rockwood School District, we utilize those funds currently to ensure that we have class size teachers in place so that we can reduce the class size. Title II funds can also be used for professional learning for teachers. For Title III, those funds are for specifically for English language acquisition. The funds that we use in the Rockwood School District go toward providing supplemental materials and support for the teachers to use with students, as well as professional learning for both ELD specialists, English language development specialists, and classroom teachers. And finally, Title IV, that is it's an interesting federal program that we have access to. That amount of funding fluctuates pretty wildly from year to year. It is designated for student support and academic enrichment. Title IV funds can be transferred to the other title programs, and we in Rockwood select to transfer those funds to Title I to ensure that we have the funds available in Title I as much as possible to support our students who need that. So again, the purpose of Title I is to ensure that all students have access to fair, equitable, high-quality education and to close any achievement gaps. So this specifically targets students typically with low economic deprivation. And we service the schools where we have the highest rates of free and reduced lunch. We provide supplemental support to those schools in the way of providing dedicated literacy coaches. We have 6 literacy coaches in the district. 2 of those are dedicated specifically to our Title I buildings. We have 4 Title I buildings. This year, Baldwin, Bowles, Kellison, and Westridge Elementaries. So our 2 literacy coaches service those 4 schools. It also serves to provide additional reading interventionists in those buildings. And finally, we provide intentional parent involvement and connections to literacy. So by bringing parents in and engaging them in activities that promote literacy, and also from time to time sending home books and other resources to support literacy in the home. Short and sweet. What questions can I answer for you?
Just to validate, this is for next school year, or is it for the current school
It's the current school year. Yes.
Okay, so it's
Yes.
for the current school year. So is actually getting any of this money tied up in the federal budget?
Currently, we have not heard that anything will be disrupted
Okay.
due to what is happening with the federal government at this time. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay. There's no further discussions. Again, I'll read the motion. The motion is to approve the submission of the FY26 Consolidated Federal Programs application for funding in the amount of $1,294,686 and approve the appointment of the Federal Programs Compliance Coordinators. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it, and that motion passes. Thank
Thank
you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Hi. All right, sorry, I'm having a little technical issue
That's
here.
okay.
Okay, we are now at 8.03 in this CSIP goal, Comprehensive Literacy Plan Presentation. No motion here with Dr. Stephanie Stefan.
All right. Hello. Happy to talk to you about this subject that is near and dear to my heart. The Comprehensive Literacy Plan has 5 steps to it. About 2 years ago, DESE released the guidelines for step 1, and just in July released the guidelines for step 2. So we do not have a complete comprehensive literacy plan at this time, but we do have one based on what we anticipate these steps to be. So step 2 of designing the comprehensive literacy plan, that we have cohorts through Ed Plus in St. Louis. So I am part of a cohort working through those steps. So it's really organizing your committee, doing a review, and making a plan for your plan. So we are right now just in step 2, but there's lots of great things already happening in Rockwood. So in the state of Missouri, we've had Senate Bill 681 and the Missouri Dyslexia Mandate really guide what we do in our literacy programming. The Dyslexia Mandate came, I want to say 8 years ago, and then Senate Bill 681 was just a couple of years ago. So with those 2 initiatives, we're required to screen all students in grades K through 6 for signs of dyslexia. The state of Missouri has approved 2 vendors to do that screening, and we use the STAR reading assessment for that. We have used that for many, many years, and so we did a review of the options, and STAR really met our needs the most. So we screen all students, and we did that long before either of these mandates were here. So I can proudly say in Rockwood, we have always assessed our kids, and we have always provided reading intervention as needed. So now we just have a few more guidelines that we adhere to. So all students get screened. Kindergarten does not get screened until December, but actually, I take that back. It just changed. They are getting screened with their first STAR early literacy test coming up in November. But the rest of the kiddos were assessed at the beginning of the year. We have to assess them within the first 30 days of school. We usually give the first STAR assessment within the first 2 weeks of school because that really drives additional assessments that we give, and then in turn impacts our reading intervention eligibility criteria. So the state of Missouri says anyone below the 32nd percentile on STAR reading then gets additional competency-based measures to screen for signs of dyslexia. So a big part of Senate Bill 681 is the Reading Success Plan. Currently, K through 5 students who are reading a year or more below grade level expectations get a reading success plan. You will hear them called RSPs, another acronym here in Rockwood. So it's really looking at students who have indicators showing they may be at risk of having dyslexia. We don't diagnose dyslexia as educators, but we look for signs of dyslexia and treat the child the same way we would if the child did have a dyslexia diagnosis from an outside source. Any student with a dyslexia diagnosis from an outside institution is required to get a reading success plan, even if they are reading at or above grade level expectations. And now we have middle school students. If they left our 5th grade with an RSP, then that continues into 6th grade. So the RSP process has been, all the little cogs have to work behind the scenes. We fill out a form in Clever Cloud. And then that has to sync with Infinite Campus, which then syncs with Parent Square to get distributed out to the parents. It's a little bit complex, but it really is nice to have a way to document that the reading success plan was sent. And we can also look and see if it was opened and by who and on what day and what time. So we have had 2 situations where parents came back and said they were not notified. And we were able to go back and say, well, it was sent to you in Parent Square on this date and you opened it at 10 a.m. And so it's been nice to have it that way. Before the RSPs came out, before that requirement, we did a reading intervention eligibility letter that went to parents. Then we did reading intervention reports that went home. If the child exited reading intervention, they got an exit letter. So we had that communication, but this way it's all the same form. It's consistently, here's your plan, here's what we're doing, and here's how your child is progressing. We are really lucky in Rockwood. We have a very robust reading intervention program. I know a lot of other districts really struggled when all of these requirements came out, but we were in a good place. So with the RSPs, the focus is really the 5 pillars of literacy: phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. So based on the interventions we give, and in Rockwood, in addition to the STAR assessments, we have additional assessments we give to really make sure we're targeting the specific goals that the child needs to improve on. So you pick your goals, and then you have to have an intervention that aligns with those goals. And then you must progress monitor based on what aligns with the intervention and the goals. So we have these really pretty, I'm very proud of these. I made these in Canva all by myself. And I think they're pretty and very informative. So when you look at the left, so the 5 pillars of literacy kind of progress along from kindergarten through 5th grade. Phonemic awareness is the first thing kids need to learn before they can read. So it kind of goes down. If that's a concern, then we do intervention with Reading Horizons or Fast Forward. If phonemic awareness isn't a concern, then it goes up to phonics, and so on and so forth. And then the little yellow rectangles below are how we progress monitor based on that intervention. So we keep all of our data in DataWise, and it's accessible anytime a parent requests it, or I've gotten a few sunshine laws that say I have so many days that I have to get this, and I'm like, I can get that for you in a minute. I just, put the child's name in and can get any information they need. One little caveat to this: if students have an IEP, the IEP replaces, in most cases, the RSP. Unless in Rockwood we have totally different goals for the child than what the IEP has, very rarely does a child get an RSP in an IEP, if that makes sense. All right, and then middle school, I'm really excited. Jenny McBride is our new 6 through 12 ELA coordinator. We have already had Read 180 in place as an intervention, and generally our kids who graduate from 5th grade up into 6th grade, if they still need help with reading, they get Read 180, and those teachers are working to do the RSPs. This is our first year of sending 6th grade RSPs, and those have to follow the student until they leave middle school or are reading on grade level expectations. And that is where we are right now. Any questions?
I do. When we have suspicion if they are dyslexic, do we recommend parents to outside sources for testing? Does special school district do the testing?
Special school district does not do the testing.
Doctor?
No, that used to be the belief that you actually had to go to a neurologist to get diagnosed with dyslexia, that there are actual indicators in your brain that show if you have dyslexia or not. Now there are many other assessments that can be used to diagnose dyslexia, but we don't do it in the schools. It's an outside source.
Okay.
So sometimes we have that conversation with parents. Like, we might be suspecting your child has dyslexia. In the elementary school, it doesn't impact so much because we have interventions that are approved by the International Dyslexia Association, and when we see those signs, we provide that intervention. So if you come in with a dyslexia diagnosis, we're still going to give you the same intervention you would have gotten either way. So it's not really something that they have to do. It can impact programming, though, with special ed. So if your child has a diagnosed learning disability and also has a dyslexia diagnosis, it might impact what intervention they use.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's complicated.
So if a student has a dyslexia diagnosis, it could be an IEP, but could it also be a 504?
It could be either.
Okay.
It depends on if they've gone through special education assessments and been diagnosed with a learning disability, or we can explore the 504. Or we can still just provide the same intervention we would have provided.
I'm just thinking as they hit high school and the testing accommodations. And
Exactly.
That's later on.
Yes.
Hi. Can you give us any kind of indication on how well our reading success plans are doing? And by that I mean, are our students who are performing below expectations, is that number going down as they go from K to 5? What kind of data do we have that way?
So we keep very close tabs on our kiddos, and we collect a lot of data. Carrie sent a couple questions over, and you really got Carrie Skeeters and I talking about maybe later this year doing a presentation showing you exactly how many kids started in RI and where they went, how much they progressed and how many exited. We try not to say graduating from RI. We usually say exit, because sometimes we have children who you might reach a certain threshold and we might say, you're ready to go back into the classroom full time and not come with our reading specialist, but we're going to keep watching you. And if you need us, we're back in. So we do have some kids that come back in. But I did look at, just out of curiosity, before the pandemic, in the fall of 2019, we had almost 1,000 kids in our reading intervention program in Rockwood. And as of today, we have about 740. So it has gone down. Our enrollment has gone down. So I'd really like to do an analysis of how much has our enrollment decreased in comparison to how much our reading intervention caseloads have decreased.
Well, isn't it really more a question of last year we had this many kids in first grade?
Yeah, you can look at it exactly.
In second grade, we dropped 10, or 10 graduate or exited. Sorry, 10 exited. I mean, that's
yes. You can look at as you
COVID
track
to
kids
now really
along.
is irrelevant. The data really statistically holds no value because you don't know the student population, all that. It's, does a kid who gets into our program exit the program in how much time?
Most of them exit with, I'd have to get the exact data, but when you look at our caseload numbers, our greatest number is first grade. And then as we get up, most of our schools have a small handful of kids in fifth grade that still need reading intervention. And when we looked at the number of kids going from fifth grade to sixth grade who needed the RSPs, it was, I think, 12 across Rockwood.
Yeah, so that'd be great data to have.
Yeah, and we'd be happy to pull that for you. It's fascinating, and it's fun. It's a very rewarding thing to see our reading intervention teachers and these kiddos that are growing and becoming readers. So I'm very proud of our program.
Great, thank you.
So
Thank you.
Stephanie, if a student has been determined to have a learning disability in the area of math, so they could also then access reading intervention. And so how does the special ed teacher and the reading interventionist work together for that child?
That is a fun question. So during the month of October, I go to every school and meet with the reading intervention teachers and the administrators. And we call them caseload conversations. And we sit down and we look at individual kids. And before I come, I have a list of kids I want to talk about. And then I ask them who they want to talk about. But it's usually the kiddos who have the higher IEP minutes that maybe have a diagnosis in math, or maybe we have a lot of kids that have high language impairment minutes. And how is that connecting with our reading intervention?
Right.
And is the language impairment so severe that they're not ready yet to have a reading intervention? Or are they working together to make sure that they're providing the meeting the needs of the kids?
Approach.
Yeah. But the other thing with kids that have like math or written expression or other things, making sure that the child is still in their classroom for their core content and for a tier 2 intervention in the classroom. So before we even want to look at children for reading intervention, we have to make sure that that core instruction is strong.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Could talk about this all night anymore. Dr. Kane?
I was just going to ask really quickly.
Yeah.
So I know I love the flow chart. I love those, like, the clear lines are
Thank you.
always great.
Thank you.
That's one of my love languages. But I'm wondering, like, how does this kind of follow kids as they go to high school? I know as they're decreasing, but how do we make sure those strategies are still in place as they...
That is the challenge. And the other challenge we've had is we have had inconsistencies with our secondary ELA coordinator position. So we've had, we get that momentum and then we don't, then we get the momentum. So I'm very excited to have a new person to work with. I've done a lot. It's interesting when they get to high school, the high school ELA teachers, they know how to teach books and teach writing and teach deep thought and conversation, but they don't know how to teach how to read. Mm-hmm. And it's not any fault of theirs. It's just their training to be a secondary ELA teacher is not how to decode words.
Right.
And so making sure that we have things in place for our kids that can't. And we do have reading strategies classes and co-taught classes. But for the child who doesn't get diagnosed with a learning disability and doesn't have that special ed support, it's those kids that we have to really focus on and make sure that there is somebody supporting them, especially when they get into content area reading that is even harder than ELA reading. So, yeah, it's a challenge, and I can't say that I have the right answer, but I do know that we've had a lot of conversations and have worked with a lot of teachers over the years.
Awesome. Thank you. I know literacy rates are just, I could talk about that all night too.
Yeah. I feel like literacy rate, like when you see like news stories about literacy, it's daunting, but in Rockwood, it's good. Like we're in such a good place and we have such support and such highly educated reading specialists. And I'm right in the heart of going to all these meetings. So I get to sit down with them and really talk about their kids and their passion. And we've got really good things going on in our schools.
It might be worth some time having a discussion on this particular area and comparing that to some of the scores we get out of DESE, because I think we talked about this a couple times in the past. We get this report from DESE, and I am going to pick on DESE. They've got big shoulders; they can handle it. That says, we have 18% performing below average, and then we've only got 12 kids going into high school, on a reading program. Well, that's because of how DESE scores things.
Well, it could be. I'm not saying that we have 12. We have 12 that need the reading success plan. There are more kids that have like IEPs and other supports in place.
Absolutely.
Okay, just making sure. I didn't want anybody leaving here thinking.
It might be worth just having a discussion sometime about some of those statistics with the community so that we can clear up what do some of those DESE numbers really mean. And maybe I think we've did that a year or two ago with one of our data conversations, because I think, so some mixed messages, because I think we're doing a lot. I think we're doing a lot in Rockwood. First of all, let me just say that right up front.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think the way DESE presents information, it doesn't always look like that.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So being able to show our own data and our own growth and our own statistics alongside of that.
And also, what does their data actually mean? What does it mean when somebody's below average? Does that mean they can't read, or does that just mean, whatever?
It's one test on one day.
Right.
And so our STAR data is way more accurate that we have, as well as the teachers' anecdotal notes and professional opinions. And it could go on and on and on.
And the progress monitoring data that we have, we really keep tabs on where kids are. And when you sit down and have a conversation with a reading specialist and they show you their data and they're like, well, I really think we need to try fluency intervention instead of, they just really dig deep with their kids and try to find exactly what they need.
Our program works. I've got 2 kiddos that exited the program, and one graduated from college, and one is doing just fine at Mizzou. So you're doing something right.
Yay. That makes me happy.
And
I did want to comment on one other thing that Carrie had asked ahead of time. every child in Rockwood who meets our reading intervention eligibility criteria is served in our reading intervention program. We don't have a wait list. We don't have, if you go from this school to this school, you'll get it or you won't. We have consistency from one school to the next and make sure that every child is getting what they need. So I appreciated that question.
Thank you for pointing that out.
And my one question on that, because year to year you might have someone that moves in that you don't know. So what flexibility do we have with moving folks over so their caseloads aren't too high, so we're getting the right number of students per reading RI teacher and things
And
like that? Do you have some?
I can analyze the heck out of the data and the caseloads and the numbers, and there is still an influx of kids at one school that we don't expect.
Right.
This year, I can knock on this table that I think we got it pretty accurate. The caseloads are pretty similar. Last year, we had an influx of new students at Westridge. They have a higher transient population, and they had a large group of kids that were unexpected, and almost all of them qualified for reading intervention. At the time, they had 2.5 reading specialists, and their halftime person traveled to Chesterfield. And it got to the point where we're like, okay, no, we need her to stay full-time, and they needed 3 full-time people at Westridge, and we got another teacher, a teacher from Pond that ended up traveling to Chesterfield. So we had to look at the data. I really don't like doing that in the middle of the year, but it worked, and we had to do it. But Rockwood reading specialists are Rockwood reading specialists. They are hired as a Rockwood School District reading specialist. And so if they have to move or if they have to travel, they're a Rockwood reading specialist. They're not a Pond or a Chesterfield or a Geggy. They work for our school district for the benefit of all of our kids. And they know that. They don't love it sometimes, but they know it.
So Stephanie, since you brought that up, what is the talent pool like for reading specialists?
You know,
What does that
you
look
would
like
think
at this
it
point
would
in time?
not be a big pool, but we have hired, so last year we had to hire 3 external people. Usually we have internal people that are classroom teachers that get their reading certification and become our reading specialists. Last school year, we had 3 openings and we did not have any internal candidates, and we were worried about that. And we got 3 of the most phenomenal reading specialists that were in other districts as reading specialists and came to Rockwood and have been phenomenal. This year we have 3 brand new reading specialists. 2 were classroom teachers, first grade teachers that became reading specialists in their schools, one at Westridge and one at Chesterfield. And then we hired another one from outside that has been really great too. Okay. So far, we are able to get the fully certified, highly qualified, really great people. And hopefully that will stay. I always encourage new teachers, when you go to get your master's, get it in something. Get it in reading, get it in math, get it in counseling, you never know where you're going to go down the road. So get that. So I love it when we can bring up our own Rockwood teachers. I was a first grade teacher and I became a reading specialist. You know, it's great to hire from our own people when we can.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good questions. Thank you.
Next is CSIP goal area review, and this is the Comprehensive School Improvement Plan CSIP update with Shelley.
Thank you. Believe it or not, it has been 4.5 months since you approved the strategic plan. So I'm here tonight to give you an update of our comprehensive school improvement plan that comes from that strategic plan and where we are in that process. So tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about how that strategic plan, Forward Together, ties to our comprehensive school improvement plan, the work that is currently in process, and what our next steps are. At this point, we have had 31 building school improvement plans submitted at the end of September by our K-12 buildings, and the CCL Pathways is in there too. 6 is the number of benchmarks that buildings are using at this point in the year. So we have given benchmarks in STAR, K through 8 in reading and math. iReady and NWEA are high school assessments that we give in reading and in math. KEA is our kindergarten assessment. WIDA is our assessment for English language learners, and we've given one round of our SEL survey. 2 is the number of principal meetings that we've had this year with all of our principals, and at each one, we have tapped into some building leadership to share their work and developing their systems and increasing student attendance. So that's been really well received, hearing from our own people talking about what they've done to start their school improvement plans. So with the new strategic plan comes a realignment in our comprehensive school improvement plan, and it really gives us an opportunity to reset and come up with how this is all going to work together. I have to say that the work that we're doing is so collaborative. We've involved administrators, teachers, district departments, all in this plan. So everybody's doing the heavy lifting of moving forward and making sure that we see the goals of that strategic plan come forward. You've seen this before, but this kind of spells out how all of these pieces tie together to that strategic plan. So step 1, we developed forward together. Step 2 is our comprehensive school improvement plan, where the district develops those goals, those timelines and measures. Those are our 4 goal areas. The district departments set those goals. Step 3, our building school improvement plans get set. And then our buildings work on PLC TEI goals and classroom instructional goals and practices. So those last 2 circles are the things that you see on that day-to-day basis in a building. So progress on the comprehensive school improvement plan. Each of our 4 focus areas set goals and came up with our plans. I can speak particularly to the nurturing, learning, and safe and caring schools. We involve our teachers in those plans as well. And we asked for their feedback at our first RLC meeting. So we set up charts around the room. You can see an example of that. We gave them the 5-year strategy that we were looking at, what the action steps were going to be for this year, asked for their thoughts on that, kind of gave them a background of our thinking on that, and let them know who was responsible at this stage of the game, that eventually more people will be involved in these, but this year we're doing a lot of foundational setting. We asked our teachers to identify the current practices that we have that align with those action steps, and then what's missing from this action step. And so we are also taking those action steps and focusing our RLC meetings in that too, so that we can get that teacher leadership voice in that comprehensive school improvement plan. And then right after the strategic plan was approved, we started working on our BSIP process. You can see the number of people that attended that day on May 29th. That has grown in number in the last 3 years. And if there was one word that I would have to sum up the improvements and the leveling up that we've seen in these building school improvement plans, it would be intentionality. Today, Gary and I had the opportunity to go visit 2 of our middle schools to talk through their plans. That is our goal, to meet with each building throughout the semester. And the intentionality at which our buildings are setting their action steps has really seen some improvement in the last couple of years. So we're seeing some really great things going on there. Our buildings each set 2 goals this year: nurturing, learning, and safe and caring schools. So we worked on that quite a bit on that May 29th day, and we framed that in a problems of practice framework. So we had them look at their data, identify where they saw gaps, and then start addressing where they think those problems might be coming from and how they could solve those problems. The buildings then aligned their TEI goals to their BSIP as they started the school year. Our teacher evaluation plan asks our teachers to set those goals. And so buildings were very intentional about that. And our curriculum team supported their teachers in setting those goals that were aligned to the BSIP. Our monthly principal meetings were spotlighting those great practices. We had Dr. Birkenmeyer talk about some of the systems that she's built to see the growth that they've seen at Rockwood South. And then last month, we had a building principal attendance panel where they shared some of the strategies that they're doing in their buildings to increase attendance. So that was really great to hear. The buildings have analyzed their benchmark data once, so that's where we are at this point, and they have started acting on what they saw in that data. And then we've started those individual BSIP visits. Our next steps will be to meet with each building to support those action steps. That really is the intent of these building meetings, is to sit down, look at what action steps they're working on, and offer support for those things. It's really interesting to see what they're doing, and we say things like, have you reached out to this person in the curriculum department who can help you? Have you reached out to a data analyst? And a lot of times those are things they just forget about, and that's a quick reminder for them to do that. In December and January, the next benchmarks will come out, so they will be able to take note of those, analyze that data, and adjust those action steps as necessary. And we'll support that, I'm sure, in our principal meetings. Continue providing time for the principals to share at their monthly meetings and have time to collaborate on what they're doing. This time in particular, we had them sit by quadrant and just share their goals so they could see the vertical alignment of those goals and what that looked like. And then proceeding with our action steps to meet those department goals. So that's where we are in 4.5 months.
I think I ask this every time. How do we communicate the school goals to the parent community?
That's up to the principal to determine how they want to communicate that.
Do you think most of the principals are sharing that out with at least their PTO, so that they could maybe help support them?
I would say probably. I think probably the most prominent goal that parents would see is that attendance goal. That's probably communicated pretty frequently.
Right.
So 2 questions, if I could. So first off, I'm very intrigued about the vertical alignment across the quadrants. Gosh, it sounds like a great thing for us to do, Hey, what you elementary schools are doing, we middle schools really care about, and likewise with the high school. So when you had that part of the conversation, how'd you feel that went? Was it naturally all flowing, or was it kind of like, okay, we're forced to mesh here, and we got to get better at that meshing?
I think there's a lot more alignment than we probably suspected. I mean, we knew it was there, but most of them in that nurturing learning are hitting literacy in some way, so that's pretty prominent. Math is in there too, the 2 biggies. And then a lot of the Safe and Caring Schools is about their SEL goals, their dignity and belonging, and how that's fitting into that, or just how they're working on strategizing and doing MTSS with kids as they need it for their social emotional learning.
Okay.
I
And
think
then maybe
the vertical piece too. I mean, we have such strong curriculum coordinators, so they really help with that as well.
And then maybe a second piece, it'd be interesting next summer to see how did everybody do, not at a micro level, but at a macro level. Did everybody just blow their goals out of the water? Did we have areas where we didn't meet our goals? And if we did, were they the same areas across multiple schools that might pose more of a district problem that we need to look at and address?
Yeah.
Your last bullet of this says proceed with action step to meet department goals. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so things like in the nurturing learning area, we've set a goal to start working on MTSS and really shoring up the Learning and Support Services team.
Okay.
So that team is Gary, Paul, myself, Steve, Carrie, special education, gifted.
Yeah.
And we're really trying to set the foundation for that so that we can then give buildings that foundation to take it and run with it. So some of those foundational parts are happening in the department goals this year.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I thought, but I wanted to clarify.
A lot of level setting.
I just wanted to say that as a former building principal, I appreciate the fact that while there's alignment and consistency with the direction that we're going, it sounds like the buildings have a good bit of autonomy in figuring out how to get there and what within that larger framework of goals, what really are the needs for that building. I think with a lot of some larger school districts in the area, not to name any, but that I've been in, there's always a danger and a temptation to just rubber stamp. Well, if this works, if it works at this elementary school, it's going to work this. If it works at this middle school, and that's not always true. And it sounds like that within that framework, you're giving the buildings quite a bit of autonomy to sort of set their own, I'll call them sub goals that's specific to their building and their own way of measuring that. So as
And that-
Bob said, it'd be really interesting then, like once the school year's over, to say, okay, well then how do we do this year?
Yeah, and that's why we really focused on that problems of practice, because you can all have a literacy need, but the root of your literacy need and how you solve that could be very different from building to building. And that's probably my favorite part of visiting the buildings and talking through that, is seeing what they've identified and what they're working on. It's fascinating to see the difference of how they approach things and what they're doing with it. It's really great. That's all.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Next is the Advocacy Committee update. And people on the committee, Dr. Kane, Sarah Boyer, Mara, Tammy, anybody else?
Mary.
Mary. Can't forget Mary. And
And I can start with the update.
okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Great. So we met on October 3rd and discussed our goals for the year. One of the things that we want to make sure that we're doing is inviting our state and local elected officials to our campuses, to our meetings. And so one of our goals was to make sure that municipal leaders are involved with our Prop S informational meetings, which I know that Dr. Kane has been working with some of the elected mayors in the municipalities that overlap with Rockwood School District to make that happen. And so that they are informed and know the why behind Prop S being on the ballot, and can relay that information to the people within their cities. We're inviting the state reps and senators to the December board awards that will be in the first week of December. And then we are going to partner with Parkway Board of Education to try to meet with legislators prior to the legislative session, which will start in January. In addition, we have decided that at our December 16th meeting, we will invite legislators to a work session that day to have kind of a round table discussion about school finance. That is also the evening where we start talking through the budget proposal for the next fiscal year, as well as receive our report from our auditor. So we're going to invite them to stay on for the open session to hear more about Rockwood's budget proposal for the next fiscal year, and hopefully a shining audit, as we've had for the past 20 plus years. And let's see, in addition, board members will be sending notes to their own representatives, giving them the heads up that they will be receiving a formal invitation and just an introduction of, hi, it's good. It's we hope to see you at on December 16th at that work session. And then Sarah's got a few more things to add.
Yeah, we also have a number of events planned for the spring as well. So on February 20th, there's a legislative breakfast where we will be inviting everyone. We're gearing up more towards the session, so we'll have some more specifics then to discuss. And then March 10th, we will be going to Jefferson City for an advocacy day. And based on previous years, we're going to look at changing that format so that we can make sure we have the best settings to talk with the people who make a difference in Rockwood. And then we also set future meeting dates, and we wanted to encourage everyone to check out our website. We keep that updated with things going on and plan to share it out just before the session starts in the first week of January. So that will be shared on social media as well. But if you Google RSDMO, I think it's linked on there on the board docs as well. But you just search Rockwood Advocacy Committee and it should come up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next is proposed agenda for the November 6th, 2025 Board of Education meeting. I believe that board meeting starts at 5 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at that time, we will be looking at our our board goals. Christmas shopping? Is that what I heard? No? We're looking at board goals. Oh, okay. And 9.02, future agenda presentations and events to attend. A lot happening, and a lot of places to go, people to see, things to do.
Maybe just to make a comment, Dr. Kane is still moving through the quadrants on his Prop S presentation. You have 2 more high schools, I believe, to hit, Lafayette and Rockwood Summit. Okay. And Coffee with Dr. Kane, still 2 more sessions of those. So for anyone in the community watching the video here after tonight and you don't know anything about Prop S, either look at the website or try to get to one of those meetings.
It's more caffeine, I think, with Dr. Kane. It's weird to refer to yourself in third person, but the cabinet folks around this room have been invaluable in helping to provide information, presentation format, and in other venues as well. So thanks to a lot of folks for the heavy lift right now.
So we've all attended numerous presentations, and they are so well done. So I echo what Bob said. Have an opportunity to learn more, please come and learn and find out about Rockwood. Okay? You know what time it is? Adjournment.